Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. Thanks for joining me today as I'm bringing to you a quick take episode, my top 5 science fiction and fantasy reads that dropped my jaw. I'm interested to know what you think of my top 5. The more you read, the less surprised you become. I mean, there's a biblical proverb that many of you have heard of. You may not have known it came from the Bible. It doesn't matter. There's nothing new under the sun. And you start to feel that way as you read through the breadth and depth of science fiction and fantasy literature. But it's really hard for an author to come up with something unique, striking, really to nail it to you and just have you flabbergasted. And for this reason, on those rare moments when you come across something in a story that truly shocks you, and in a good way, something that comes completely out of left field and leaves you thinking, I can't believe the author just did that. You treasure those moments and you want to read them again and again. Now, I'm not talking about purely shock value. That's simple enough to do. The grim dark subgenre of fantasy is full of such examples. To qualify as an epic jaw drop moment, I have to not just be shocked, but impressed. The event has to be absolutely brilliantly conceived and delivered. So I'm bringing to you today my top 5 such moments from all of the different novels that I've read over time. I'm excluding anything that was just on the screen, although it's possible something I'm going to share has been adapted to the screen. But I'm looking at literature, written source material to bring these top 5 to you. I'm not going to tell you specifics. I don't want to spoil any of these because if you have not read them, I would hate myself for ruining this for you. But if you have read them, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about from the bit I'll share. And hopefully you're going, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know just what you mean, Jim. That's what I'm going for. Well, I guess there's one more thing I ought to suggest then. Obviously, if you haven't read them, go read them. Truly. I'm telling you, you want to read these. And then come back and tell me later, thanks, Jim. Good advice. All right, what do I have? Let me work from the bottom up. My number 5 is the most recent of the ones I've read on this list, and that's the Wayward Pines trilogy by Blake Crouch. Honestly, there's aspects of the entire trilogy that hit this way, but I guess the key point it's here is because what you think you're reading, what you think you figured out is not what's going on. And when the reveal happens, you're like, whoa. And then you're like, whoa. That is so well done. And you could not have predicted it. I haven't met anyone who actually had figured this out before they got to it in the book. And yet there's more. And that's why I list the trilogy, not just one of the 3 books. We've got Pines, we've got Wayward, and we've got The Last Town, and each of them delivers their own shocking, literally jaw-dropping moments. So, well done, Blake Crouch. Wayward Pines trilogy, that's number 5 for me. Number 4 is an older one on this list, and it's from science fiction. Very strong science fiction, and that would be the reveal near the end of Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. This used to be one far less people know, but of course, some years back, they came out with a movie. Harrison Ford, other actors I should remember the names of. There were quite a few well-known performers in this. But, wow, when you read the book and you get to the point where what's really happened is revealed, it's not only jaw-dropping, it also hits. It's like, oh, what? And how could you have done that? I don't want to tell you who I'm mad at that point. Spoiler. But wow. That's a moment. Okay. So Ender's Game, definitely a strong number 4 on my list. Number 3, The whole freaking last battle, multiple events throughout this massive chapter of A Memory of Light, book 14 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson at this point. The chapter alone is longer than Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I mean, it's a massive chapter, and thus there are all sorts of events that happen in it. Now, some of them were well foreshadowed throughout the series, others are lightly hinted at, but some just come out of nowhere, and you just can't believe what you're seeing to some extent throughout this chapter. Multiple jaw drops as you see what the authors just did. It's like, really? Whoa, whoa, yeah, no. I mean, the emotions swing all over the place in this battle. It's amazing. It is such a payoff after these lengthy, massive books to get to this point and to have the entire last battle occur and to see what really happens, the prices that are paid, the devastation, the successes. Wow. So it's number 3, but it's a chunky 3 because there's a lot of jaw drops in the last battle. Number 2, this one is Harry Dresden's decision and action at the culmination point of changes. Book 12 of the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. This is a favorite, one of the favorite books that many have who've read the Dresden Files because of this moment and its ramifications to the rest of the story as we continue on. It's, again, a jaw drop moment and also kind of a gut punch moment at the same time as Harry takes an action, makes a decision that's just brutal and heart-wrenching to have to do, and to see him realize he's going to do this. And then what happens? What's changed forever because of it? Wow. Again, jaw drop moment. Number 2 on my list. Number 1, ironically, comes from Grimdark. Because, I talked about Grimdark. It's easy to do. Yeah, but it's not easy to do jaw drop moments that are mind-blowingly epic in Grimdark. Because it's easy to jaw drop in Grimdark. You can kill anybody. You can be unpredictable. It's the mode. So to deliver something that is truly impressive, truly brilliant, truly make me just almost bow at the feet of the author, that's tough. But one of the early masters of Grimdark pulls it off to get my number 1 slot, and that's George R.R. Martin from A Song of Ice and Fire, Book 3, Storm of Swords. If you've read it, you know where I'm going. We're talking The Red Wedding. Now, again, this has been brought to the screen in Game of Thrones, so many of you know what I mean by The Red Wedding. But when it plays out in the books, you're like, whoa. And you can't believe what you've just read on the page, just like when you watched it on the show, you couldn't believe what you were seeing on the screen. The adaptation is different from the books. The books, as always, I think, are better. What a moment. Again, huge ramifications as the story continues beyond this. But when I'm reading it, I'm just, wow, dumbstruck at what I'm seeing on the page, what I'm seeing in my mind. Incredible. Those are my top 5 moments. There's a lot of great stuff out there I haven't read yet. So I would value and love to hear your moments. Again, in a format I just gave. Spoiler light. Tell me the book. Tell me the general event, maybe, but don't spoil it for me because I'll never read the book then. Okay, I just won't. Don't do it to me. I do want to point out 2 last things, though, before I wrap this up. 1, an honorable mention. Something I thought about putting on the list, but honestly, I didn't enjoy the books that much. Some of you will disagree. I appreciated the books, but didn't enjoy them. And this I'm talking about is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Some really well-written literature. Science fiction, fantasy blend, basically. We've got content here on our channel about it. When you do come to realize what's really been going on in these books, jaw drop. Okay, because that's not what you thought was happening. You didn't see it coming, and there's a couple different moments in the trilogy where, whoa, really? Again, shock, impressive, well written. But again, I didn't like them enough to elevate them to my top five. But I'll throw them a bone, honorable mention. Some of you will definitely agree. And then I'll mention an author. This is not honorable mention, this is commentary. There's an author really prolific, well known in fantasy these days that is missing, sort of, and that's Brandon Sanderson. Obviously, he's on here because of A Memory of Light, but he's working primarily with Robert Jordan's writing and notes, and he's finishing the story. Most of The Last Battle is Robert Jordan's stuff, and the words are put together by Brandon Sanderson, but it's not his original ideas. And it's strikingly different in the way the story is told as compared to other works Brandon Sanderson writes. Now, Brandon Sanderson has some great books out there. I'm a fan. I've read most of what he's put out. Not everything. He's just writing so fast. But his books, they don't make jaw drops for me. I'm not sure if this should be perceived as good or bad, actually. They're epic books with incredible conclusions. I mean, his Sanderland that he's famous for is like, whoa, again and again. But what I find with these massive endings, these huge events that happen in his books, is they're well foreshadowed. He builds up logically to them. And when they happen, yes, they're impressive, but not shocking. Instead, they feel right, satisfying. It's delivering on promises made. Again, they can be impressive. The Stormlight Archive, the 4 books that are out there already, are great examples of this, but my jaw doesn't drop. Instead, my mouth smiles. I'm thrilled. I'm pleased. I'm excited for more, but I'm not so shocked. I guess that's what I can say. So this is not to diminish Brandon Sanderson, but I do want to leave it to you to decide, is it a flaw that his writing is too logical and not shocking enough? Or maybe you disagree, actually. And maybe you do see your jaw have to be picked up off the floor when you're reading Brandon Sanderson. That's not me, but maybe it's you. Feel free to tell me. All right, as I wrap this up, then I do again want to invite you to put some comments down below and let me know what's missing here. What are some big ones out there that everybody maybe's read or just about everybody knows about that I somehow didn't think of? Jaw-dropping moments to put on my list. What would be definitely in your top 5 that's not mine? Don't spoil it, but give me the book, give me the author, give me the basic event if you like, and let's engage. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.